If you've clicked this video, you probably have an idea of what AI is and you've probably used it. You've probably built something with it or at least thought about building something with it. You know the tools, you know the language, and you've seen what you can do with it. That alone puts you ahead of probably 99% of the population. But the reason you don't feel ahead is you look at your phone so often. You look at your phone on a daily basis, and whatever it may be, you open TikTok, you open X, you open Instagram, and you see somebody making $10,000 a month with automations or $50,000 in an AI agency, and then they show their screenshot of their Stripe dashboards, and the client wins in the autonomous systems that just run on autopilot when they're sleeping. And seeing that, you probably think you're late and that the time is over and that you just don't have a chance on making anything out of AI or making any money out of it. And you really didn't miss anything. You are in the top 1%. You just happen to be seeing everything in a perspective that everything that you consume is the 1% of people who have made money out of it and have actually taken the time to learn it. And you are still a part of that 1%, more than the common person. If you go outside right now and you knock on your neighbor's door and say, "Do you know something about MCPs?" And they'll stare at you in disbelief. They'll look at you like you're crazy. And if your barber's cutting your hair and then you say, "What type of LLM do you use?" they're going to be like, "What the hell is this guy talking about?" Or if you talk about a context window to somebody, they're going to have no clue, because to most people, automation's AI, it's just a tool to use for Google. All they know is about ChatGPT, and they've typed something in it probably a few times, like I said, to just Google something, and they don't actually have experience on using it in an effective manner like you do. That's pretty much as far as it goes. Using it for Google, or maybe helping them cheat on something, or even just using it to finish homework. And since I'm in high school, that is a large variety of what I see. All people do is finish my homework to ChatGPT or help me understand something, but that's as deep as it goes. And you watching this probably knows the potential and what you can truly do with AI, but you just haven't applied it. Most people don't know what a large language model is. They don't know that there's different ones like ChatGPT. They probably never heard of Claude or Anthropic, even though it's been going up. They probably never heard of Kimi. They probably never heard of all these LLMs that are out. But all they know is ChatGPT or maybe Claude. They don't know what tokens are. They don't know what context windows are. And that's completely normal. You just happen to be in that 1%. They've never heard of NAN. They never heard of Zapier. They never heard of Make.com. They have no idea that you can literally turn AI into a business and pretty much make automations for people that autonomously follows up with leads, books appointments, and pretty much recovers revenue for big businesses. They don't know how agents function or function calling, and they don't know what an MCP stands for, let alone what it does. And they think it is pretty much just a tool to pretty much search whatever it may be. It's never been about how deep they can think. It's just never been an idea that's really crossed their mind. You and the same person that has no clue what an MCP is or an LLM is live in the exact same street. You guys live in the exact same economy, and you guys breathe the same air. But you have the ability and you have the access to tools that pretty much multiply your thinking, speed, and ability to do anything. All you need is that capability to actually make your own thoughts and beliefs. And as every single week that pretty much passes by, you are missing a big opportunity, because the gap gets smaller of the number of people who really know. As every week goes by, AI is becoming easier and more effective. And we notice this because of Anthropic's pretty much dominance in the AI field right now. They're building so much and innovating so often. AI is just spiraling out of control in terms of its innovation and its creation. So as every week passes by, there's something new that's coming out. So as every week that you don't do something, you are missing out on an opportunity of a lifetime. And I'm going to tell you something that's pretty recent, and it's about me. Basically, I started building my business around 2 weeks ago. Seriously working about it 2 weeks ago. I'm not talking about years, I'm not talking about months, I'm talking about 2 weeks ago. I didn't watch any courses, I didn't do any strategizing. I spoke to a Claude agent that I pretty much created on my own, and obviously had, I guess, some tutorials help me at the beginning of once I first began learning about it. And I basically sat with it and spoke with it for hours at a time during that day, and it pretty much gave me an idea and plan on what I should do and how I'm supposed to use it in the most efficient manner possible. And in just those 2 weeks, I've already been able to generate leads. I've already had people who have asked for my help and who have asked for me to help them. And this is probably an eye opener to you because you really understand that in 2 weeks, that's all it can take for you to really get your first client. Not a few months, not a few weeks, or actually a few weeks, 2 weeks. But that really shows you how easy using AI can be as long as you use it in the right manner. And I'm not saying this to impress you because I know 2 weeks is a very short span, but I was pretty much in the exact same spot as you guys 2 weeks ago. I knew what the tools were and I understood the concepts and I knew the vocabs and I pretty much knew the idea and concepts of how to use AI, but I just never did anything with it. I was just consuming and I never actually had any real output. And I built AI automation systems for local services, HVAC companies, plumbers, roofers, real estate agents, whatever it may be. And these aren't dumb people. They've been doing this job for years at a time. And when I sit down and show them what these automations are and how they can pretty much enhance their workflow by probably 20 times the amount and 20 times the time, they really understand how true and how deep this automation really is and how AI truly can change and enhance the operation of these businesses. And it's just a realization that AI really has reached the level that nobody knows, or only a 1% of the world understands and knows, but it's just been dormant. And I pretty much help them understand an unsold estimate, and I just pretty much create autonomous systems for them to enhance their workflow. They look at me like I'm crazy. To be honest, it is just so crazy to understand that something that seems so normal for us, people who have watched thousands or hundreds of videos on AI or even just tens of videos on AI, something that just has became something so normal to us. We've read about it, we've learned about it. It just seems so crazy to your average person because we just happen to be stuck around a community of people who adapt and grow at a exceeding rate. It is at a rate that is so incapable of understanding because they just grow so rapidly and so crazily that it's hard for us to keep up. So once we notice that their growth is just so going so fast and so deep, you just forget how ahead you truly are. You begin to misunderstand that you're not behind. You're actually ahead of probably 99% of the people who use AI and who use it to create anything or who just use it in general. And once you speak to business owners or once you speak to people who have only used AI to pretty much Google search or tell them how to do something, you really begin to understand how deep into AI you really are. And you probably go on X or whatever social media it may be and you see these systems and they feel normal to you, like these N8N automations that people say are over and they don't need anymore. These automations are worth money. It just happens to be there are ways that you can do them easier now. And like I said, these automations make money because they're automations. They definitely take a little more maintenance, but they're easy to make. You can ask AI to make them for you, and you just have to iterate and pretty much fix it on your own and with the AI helping you actually. So you're not behind. You've just gotten too used to seeing such complex tasks being done online and you feel like you're behind, but you're really not. You just haven't been open to speaking to other people and watching and understanding the experience they have with AI. Because if you ask, especially HVAC, a lot of them are pretty old men and a lot of them have no clue what automation is. So when you show them something this deep, it really opens their eyes to how they can truly grow their business with this automation. So of course they're going to pay for it. Of course you're going to get that $1,000, that $2,000, that extra money that you wouldn't have even thought that you could make before because you thought you were behind, but you're just not. You just haven't decided to make something out of what you know. And you just truly have to step outside of what you see online and begin creating, because that's really the only place that you are ever going to make money or create something out of it. And there's something that goes a little deeper about the knowledge you have. Using AI and building AI systems are completely different. People who use AI are surface level. So, my sister, for a fact, she uses ChatGPT to help her with her college work. And she opens the chat. She asks it a small question: "Can you help me with my calc homework?" or whatever it may be. And it pretty much gives her a step by step. And then there's people like me, people who use AI to leverage some sort of business or to pretty much help other businesses find a lead that they never thought that they could actually attain. Because let's say, whether it be sending an automatic message right away once they're asleep, there's leads who send messages at 10 p.m. after the office hours, but they still keep that lead because they have an automation who that pretty much responds to it immediately, and they keep that lead. And it's not about prompting, or it's not about iterating a prompt. It's pretty much about creating a system of automations or a system of thinking for your LLM, and giving it a way to think that pretty much enhances your workflow. And there's such a big difference and a big gap between people who just ask AI questions and asking them to write emails, than somebody who can create a system for themselves that automatically has them create and send emails for them. And that's just the knowledge gap, and understanding the true infrastructure and the true and deeper meaning of the use of AI. The real problem is not about knowing or not knowing. I'd say it is all about the output that you give. You can have all the information, you could have all the understanding about AI, you could have all the information, LLMs, MCPs, whatever it may be. You may understand how automations work, whatever it is, but unless you can actually apply it to something, it doesn't matter. You can understand whatever it may be, but the person who knows half of what you do but decides to apply it to a real world situation has 10 times more value than you do, just because they know how to actually use it in real world context. You understanding and knowing what AI is has no leverage or no value unless you do something with it. So I understand this because this is practically how it's been for me. 6 months ago, a year ago, whatever it may be, I first started learning, and I began to broaden my knowledge of whatever it may be. But I never understood that making a business out of this is so much more of a reality than it could have been. I just happened to read about it, learn about it, whatever it may be, but I never actually attempted to make something out of it. So I just spent all this time consuming without deciding to make anything. And that's really where another gap lies. It's the consumers and then the creators. You have to aim to be a creator and not a consumer, because the consumers are the ones who get stuck in endless knowledge and don't know how to apply it. So you have to learn that sweet spot where it becomes consuming and creating, because obviously you have to consume a small bit to make sure you don't fall behind, but you also can't consume so much that you just spend no time creating and have no value, because that information is literally nothing if you can't do anything with it. So there are two groups of people in this world right now. The first group is pretty much the people who doesn't know the true reality of what AI can do. They don't know that somebody with a laptop and somebody with systems built into it can build literally autonomous solutions that would usually require large teams, but they take that into a 10-minute workflow or an immediate response. Something that would originally take a group of people turn into 5 minutes. And then the second group knows everything, follows every account, subscribes to newsletters, understands the vocabulary, sees the opportunity, but they haven't built anything. So group 1 and group 2 are no different, because one understands and knows how to, they see the opportunity, but they don't build anything. And then group 1 They don't see an opportunity and they don't build anything, but you see how they relate? Neither of them are creating an output. So, and you knowing nothing are the exact same thing if you create nothing. So, if you click this video, you're probably in the second group because you have a solid understanding, you want to learn more, and you want to broaden your knowledge on whatever it may be in terms of AI. But as every day passes, you and the common man are pretty much becoming more alike, and the average person is probably getting closer to you because they're slowly beginning to understand and learn the value of AI. But sometimes it's not about the entertainment that you gain from the videos and learning all this to be entertained. It's actually about the application. Obviously, if you find this entertaining and you find it interesting, that's great, but the value is useless unless you can actually apply it to something. So stop comparing yourself to the people who pretty much post their $50,000 months of revenue on Instagram or on Twitter or on TikTok, and just compare yourself to the real world. Compare yourself to your neighbor, compare yourself to your barber, compare yourself to your sibling, compare yourself to your parents, compare yourself to somebody you work with. You are ahead of 99% of the population, but you just don't seem to understand it because you compare yourself to the people who are just so much more ahead. That's like if a soccer player, the professional soccer players who are ahead of 1% of 99% of the world, compares themselves to the best person or the best soccer player in the world. Obviously, they're going to think that they're behind because they're in the highest bracket of soccer, but they're not. They're the 99, they're the 1 percentile of people in the entire world who are able to make it to that level. And that's you. You have the knowledge, you have the understanding, you know how to apply it, but you haven't done that. So you understand most people don't know what an API is. Most people don't know all this spectacular vocabulary, but that doesn't matter. Even me, I don't know how to define so many other terms, not these, but so many other terms that I actually have no clue about, but that's not what matters. What matters is I'm actually creating output, I'm getting leads, and I'm speaking with clients. I'm capable of making money out of this because I've decided to make something out of it. So just these 2 weeks of building, these 2 weeks of understanding the needs of these real estate agents, these HVAC, these roof constructors, I understand their problem, and creating a solution for them is what makes the money. So if you're looking for money and if you actually want to make some sort of business, you actually have to get into the real world. You have to understand that there's real problems that can be automated, but you just have to understand where to look and what to do. So you better burst that little bubble of yours and stop focusing on this online expectation for you to need to have this extreme automation workflow or whatever it may be. You don't need this stuff. You can have simple automations. You could have simple workflows. You could use simple prompts. And sometimes this creates more output than what these people are doing because you just seem to compare yourself to the 0.0001% who make $50,000 a month off of it when you can be making at least $10,000 a month, but you just choose not to because you think that you're too far behind. So it's not normal to know what an LLM is. It's not normal to know what an MCP is. It's not normal to know Stripe integration. And it's not normal to use AI in a productive manner. So since you know and since you understand how to do this, you need to open the door to yourself and begin creating. Yeah, you have to begin. You have to stop allowing people to make you think that you're behind when you're truly not. So if you can deepen your understanding of the real world, that constructive mind of yours is going to create more than a mind that's filled with everything on AI, automations, whatever it may be. You are going to be and you are going to get ahead of that mind because all they're doing is building nothing but at a faster pace with AI. So if you learn how to apply it and you learn how to use it in your real life and you learn how to give it to people, you will begin to leverage that knowledge of yours in a 20,000 times manner. So you just have to lock in and understand that you don't need to be making $50,000 a month. You don't need to be making $100,000 a month using AI. You just have to understand it all begins at some point, and This is just the beginning, so you have to lock in and really begin on creating output in your life. So lock the hell in.